Joining me now is Andrew Yang. He is running for president in 2020. Andrew, welcome to the Young Turks Network.
Hey man, it's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem, brother. Thank you for joining us. So now you're not already a politician, so that makes your job a little bit harder in running, but we're not like the other press. We give everybody a shot. So can you tell us what your background is and why you decided to run for president of all things?
Sure. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I started an organization called Venture for America that helped create several thousand jobs around the country in cities like Detroit, St. Louis, Baltimore, and Cleveland. And I'm running for president because the reason why Donald Trump's our president today is that we automated away 4 million manufacturing jobs in Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. And my friends in Silicon Valley are about to do the same thing to millions of retail jobs, call center jobs, truck driving jobs, fast food jobs, and on through the economy. So when I saw all of these problems, imagine being an entrepreneur who's created thousands of jobs and realizing that you are pouring water into a bathtub that has a giant hole in the bottom. And that's when I realized I needed to run for president in order to activate energy around real solutions to the problems that got Donald Trump elected in the first place.
So Andrew, I take it you're going to run as a Democrat.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and so what's your answer for how we replace those jobs, or what we do about the fact that those jobs are gone and a lot more will be gone soon?
So there's a three-step process to try and re-energize the American economy. And right now our labor force participation rate is down to 62.9%, the same levels as El Salvador and the Dominican Republic. That's one reason why Americans are so angry and distressed. So the first step is the freedom dividend, where every American adult gets $1,000 a month, free and clear, no questions asked. It's a form of universal basic income, paid for a new tax that would fall most heavily on the companies that are benefiting the most from all of this new technology. The second part of the plan is to get healthcare off the backs of American families and businesses. I'm for single-payer Medicare for all. It doesn't make sense to tie healthcare to jobs when 94% of new jobs are temp jobs and contractor jobs that don't include healthcare. And then the third step that might be the most profound, we made up GDP almost 100 years ago. And right now GDP is leading us off a cliff because it's going to keep going up even as more Americans get left behind. So we need to modernize our economy and start measuring things that matter to the American people. Things like median income and affordability, childhood success rates, mental health and freedom from substance abuse, criminality and recidivism, environmental sustainability, create a more human-centered economy, what I call a trickle-up economy from human beings, families, and our communities up.
Is that what you call human capitalism?
Yeah, that's right. Human-centered capitalism. Right now, we have a system that prioritizes capital efficiency, stock market prices, profitability, and GDP, and we need to shift that to things that actually matter to us. And so it's what I call human-centered capitalism, which hopefully will take the best of capitalism and use it to improve our lives.
Yeah, Andrew, I think you might be in the wrong profession because you're making way too much sense. First of all, sight unseen, you or Trump, I'd put you in office so quick it'd make your head spin. In terms of, and the reason I say that is, this is something we talk about on the show all the time. Wages are declining when you take inflation into account. Oh, GDP is going up, the stock market is going up. Yeah, if you're a multimillionaire news anchor on television, that's great for you, and you're going to tell everybody how great the economy is. But there's a reason why Hillary Clinton lost Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. Just like you point out, they've lost the jobs, not a lot of hope of bringing it back. Their wages are stagnant, and there's nobody in politics that seems to give a damn. Trump pays it lip service, that's why he won. The Democrats don't even know what the hell's going on, right? And they should be,
I couldn't agree more, and it's painful to watch as a Democrat myself when you know that it was the economic distress that got Donald Trump elected, and Democrats don't seem to have their eye on the ball. Where we have to start trying to address the root causes of what led to Donald Trump's election. He's a symptom. The disease is economic insecurity, and that's what we have to work on.
So, Andrew, it's great that you're outside the bubble of Washington because you were talking like a human being. Like, as opposed to the politicians who, like, they're playing in a totally different field. I mean, they're positioning based on identity politics and this and that and all these other things that are like important in the world, but not what actually gets voters excited and actually improves their lives and what they might motivate them to vote. So now what I'm really curious about is, so those are good policy positions. The question is how you're actually going to get elected, right? So you're going to Iowa and New Hampshire, is that correct? Have you gone to both those states?
I've been to Iowa 5 times, New Hampshire 4 times, and I'm going back to both this next coming week. I'm actually launching a national tour called the Humanity First Tour tomorrow in Detroit. And then we're heading to Chicago, off to New Hampshire, and then doubling back and heading to Iowa. But the way we get elected is we make the case to the American people that $1,000 a month would be really, really good for them, their families, and people in their community. Right now, 57% of Americans can't afford an unexpected $500 bill. And young people are saddled with all of this totally immoral school debt that's been loaded on top of them, and then told that it's their fault that they can't find a secure path forward. I shouldn't laugh because it's messed up and tragic. And so what we have to do is we have to make the case to the American people that $1,000 will help you, your family members, be able to make transitions, pay back student loans, perhaps start a new business, and really start taking care of the American people first and foremost, and prepare us for this transition we're in the midst of, because we are in the middle of the greatest economic and technological transformation in the history of the world.
So Andrew, what do you do when you go to Iowa or New Hampshire? Like, I literally don't know. You go to Iowa and do what?
Well, I'm happy to say that I get invited to cool events with hundreds of Democrats, and there is a video of me online speaking to 1,000 Democrats all at once in Clear Lake, Iowa. So I understand the subtext of the question, which is like, if you just like have me, walk the streets of Iowa, New Hampshire, it's not going to be very effective at getting me elected president. But I'm glad to say we're having rallies that get hundreds of people, and the Democrats of Iowa and New Hampshire are really hungry for this sort of message, such that they're inviting me to speak to gatherings in counties across both states. I'm getting endorsements from everyone from union leaders like Andy Stern, who used to run the SEIU, to tech leaders like Sam Altman and Y Combinator. So I'm getting support from all over the spectrum because I'm talking sense. Like, I'm talking about economics and rational policies that are going to help solve the set of problems that, again, led to Donald Trump.
So, but Andrew, are you doing your own events, or are you going to events that already exist in Iowa? And so part of the reason I ask is, if do you run into Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris, and, or Joe Biden when you go to these events? And are you invited just the same as they are? I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so again, if you go online and you see the speech I gave at the Wingding, it was me and John Delaney and Tim Ryan and a couple of other people. In Johnson County, it was me, Tulsi Gabbard, Jeff Merkley, and Jay Inslee. So I do get included in these road shows that national politicians show up to. And I'm getting more and more invitations because, again, I'm talking about people's actual experience on the ground. What I say to people in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Ohio and Michigan, I ask them a simple question, which is, have you noticed stores closing where you live? And they all say yes. And then I ask, why is that? And they say Amazon. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. Is that going to get better or worse? Same thing about factories. Truck driving is the most common job in 29 states, including Iowa. So when you talk to people about the bread and butter issues in a way that makes sense to them, it's very, very powerful. But I'm happy to say I'm getting included in all of the major Democratic events in these states.
All right, the website's yang2020.com. A unique candidate who's got some interesting ideas, and look, I'm allowed to give my opinion. I think a lot of them make a lot of sense.
Well,
thanks,
Andrew. I'll see you on the trail. We're going to start a revolution.
Okay, well, I'd like that kind of talk. I will see you on the trail. All right, thank you, Andrew.
Thanks, Hank. Great seeing you, man.
On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.